Okay, so this next lesson is over 7.5C. It's solving mathematical and real-world problems using similar shapes and scale drawings. That sounds super intimidating, but it's not. We just use things and set them up like ratios like we did, and we did this at the beginning of the year, again, on a lot of our skill builders. So some of you, you may breeze through it, and some of you, may still struggle. But I'm going to do number 11. So not these up here, but the one with the building and the tree. It says a building casts a shadow. Remember, shadows are on the ground, despite y'all arguing with me. The building casts a shadow of 5.4 meters. A tree that is 7.2 meters high, so its height is 7.2 meters, casts a shadow that is 3.6 meters, so its shadow is 3.6 meters. What is the height of the building? So I want to know how tall the building is. So we set this up just like we set up ratios. First, we're going to set up the ratio for the building. So that is x over 5.4 set equal to, since I did the height first, I got to do the height of the tree first, 7.2 over the shadow, 3.6. Then it's like you've seen on other videos before. We cross multiply, so you get 3.6x equals, I'm going to do that right here, 7.2 times 5.4. You get 8, and you get 28. So then you get 10 and 36. You add that together, there's 2 behind the decimal, so you find that it equals 38.88. All right, and then all you do is divide both sides by 3.6. So that cancels, leaving x. So 38.88 divided by 3.6. Now here's a skill from last year that you need to remember. So if you have a decimal on the outside, you have to move it till it becomes a whole number. I moved it one time here, therefore I move it one time here, and I go ahead and bring up because that's where my decimal is going to be. So 36 can go into 38 one whole time with 2 left over. Then I have 28. 36 cannot go into 28, so I have to put a 0. All right? And that leaves me 28 again. So I have to drop my other 8. Let's see, 36 times, let's choose 6. So that's 36, that's 18, 19, 20, 21. All right, let's choose, 8. Let's try 8. So there's 48, there's 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So it goes in 8 times, perfect. So what is the height of the building? 10.8 meters. And then you would fill it in, 10.8. It's positive. And then remember to go back in and bubble. Okay, I'm doing the one at the bottom. Number 6, it says, on a map, the distance across the lake is 3 1/4. So from here to here is 3 1/4. We're going to change to a decimal just because it's easier. So 3.25 inches. The map scale shows that half an inch is equal to 600 yards. So it says that half an inch, and I'm going to change that into a decimal, is 600 yards. So if this is in inches and this was in inches, so I'm going to put the other inch on top. How many yards is that? Okay, so half an inch is 600 yards. So I need to know how many yards is 3.25. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to cross multiply again. 0.5 times x is 0.5x. You cross multiply these two. So 3.25. I'm just going to say 6, and then I'm going to add the zeros at the end. You can do that when it's hundreds. So there's 30, there's 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19. Okay, and so that's 1, 2, but I have to add the 0, so then say 1, 2. Okay, so equals 19, 50. Okay, so your teacher is a ding-dong, but y'all all already knew that. So instead of pressing record while I was working the problems, I didn't. And so I worked the entire problem out without hitting record. So I've got all the answers written down. I'm going to walk you through it again, this time with the camera on. Okay, so this one is asking me to find this side of the trapezoid. Okay, so first thing you need to do is find your sides that match. That's why I highlighted these sides, because these are my longer bases. And then I highlighted these sides because these are my shorter bases. And so I said, because I didn't have an answer here at that point, okay, I'm going to erase it now. I did 3 2/3 over x, so I did my yellows over my yellow, and then I did my pencils 2 3/4 over my 3. Okay, so then you see that I cross multiplied x times 2 3/4. That's why I wrote that, okay? X times 2 3/4. And so then I did 3 2/3 times 3. The reason I didn't change this to a decimal is because it's a decimal that repeats forever and it makes sloppy answers in the end. So I kept it as a fraction and I multiplied 3 2/3 times 3. You can see that I popcorned, which means I did 3 times 3 and got 9, and did 9 plus that 2. That's why I now have 11 over 3. I converted this to a fraction, so now I have times 3 over 1. I got 33 by doing 11 times 3, which equaled 33, and 3 times 1, which equals 3. And 33 divided by 3 is just 11, so that's where this 11 came from. So then I ended up with this equation, 2 3/4 x equals 11. So the way to get that away is to divide both sides by 2 3/4. Okay, but I changed 2 3/4 to 2.75 because that's the decimal of 2 3/4. And so I moved my decimal 2 times here. 11 didn't have a decimal, but I made it have one. I moved it 2 times and pulled it up. So then I just started multiplying, trying to figure out how many times 275 can equal 1,100, and I found that 4 times. It takes 4 times, so that the side length of this is 4. That's how I got 4 with the video on this time. Okay, so take a moment and see if you can get this one. Pause the video and then come back to me. Okay, it says a tree casts an 18-foot shadow, which they have written for you, and a horse stands 9 feet tall, so that's the height, tall means height, of the horse, and he casts a 6-foot shadow. Determine the height of the tree to the nearest foot. So we're going to call the height x. Okay, so I'm going to do the tree first. So I'm going to say x over 18 is equal to, I did height first, so I'm going to do height first for the horse over the shadow. We're going to cross multiply, getting 6x equals whatever 18 times 9 is. So that's 72, so 9 plus 7 is 162. Okay, then we divide by 6. So 162 divided by 6. 6 goes into 16 twice with 4 left over. And it goes into 42 7 times. So the height of the tree, 27 feet. I hope you got it.